And up next, we got an amazing fight, man. We got a fight that it's been talked about for years, and originally it was talked about it was going to be a 170-pound title fight between the former champ, former pound for pound number one fighter in the world, Kamaru Usman, and Khamzat Chimaev. But now, in a turn of events, I mean, these guys are going to be fighting a 3-round co-main event at 185 pounds, with Usman jumping in on like 9 days' notice. So really, really intriguing fight in my opinion. I mean, Chimaev, he has a big advantage in terms of, I believe he left Europe. He's training now in UAE full time, so he's gonna have the acclimation there. He's gonna have, everyone there where he has his nutrition right. He has everything perfect, his routine, and Usman's gonna have to be, flying across the world and getting ready to fight with the kind of an abbreviated training camp. But I do think Usman is in better shape and he's going to be on point for this fight, man. I think some people are kind of underestimating the shape that he's going to be in, thinking that he's going to maybe not be in fight shape necessarily, and he's taking this fight for a paycheck or other things like that. And maybe that's true, maybe I'll be incorrect, but personally I feel like Usman, man, this is a fight that's been talked about for a long time where a lot of people are saying, Chimaev was going to go out there and take Usman out, take his belt. He was easy work for Chimaev, and Usman's always welcomed this fight. I remember when they were supposed to do this Abu Dhabi matchup a few months ago, Usman raised his hand and said he would be the opponent for this date. So I think that he's going to be very motivated for this fight. It's kind of a make or break match for his career. If he wins this fight, man, I mean, we could see him in a title fight at 185 in his next match. They already said it's confirmed, and he beat Sean Strickland in the past, so he could get an easy path to another title right there, or at least another title opportunity. And you don't know if he would have had that at 170. I mean, if Leon beats Colby, goes on a run, he's not going to be able to fight for that belt for a long time. So he's getting like a lottery ticket right here. He's getting a fight Khamzat Chimaev, one of the biggest names, biggest prospects in the sport. He can go out there, beat him, re-announce himself in a new division, get an instant title shot, and probably be the favorite to win the belt. So I think Usman is in a great position here. And Chimaev is also in a great position. I mean, this guy is one fight away from a UFC title, and he's had a really interesting route in the UFC. I mean, originally he fought, twice in 10 days, and Dana White was talking about how he's going to be the most active fighter in UFC history. He wants to fight every weekend. He's calling him and harassing him to fight. And then now it's like his career didn't pan out that way. He's fought very infrequently. He hasn't necessarily fought. He's fought some high-level guys, but most of the fights that he's had have been favorable matchups, where the one match that he's had that was more of a difficult fight with Gilbert Burns ended up being a really tough one. And now he's getting another intriguing fight where it's someone that could push back on the wrestling again here with Usman. So these are the type of fights you would have wanted to see Chimaev in the last couple of years, but been over a year since we've last seen him in the cage. And hopefully, he's been training. I mean, obviously, the reports on him is he trains like a demon all the time, so could come in here looking even better. And we're going to see, but it's just a very interesting fight because I feel like people are putting dirt on Kamaru Usman like he's in the grave already. Like, people are saying the guy's going to get knocked out. He has no chance to win this fight, but it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, okay, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but the Edwards fight, the first one, he was winning 24 minutes of the fight, got caught. And then the second fight, he had a horrible performance, and it was still a very competitive, close fight. I mean, majority decision. So I feel like Usman, I mean, you could never underestimate the heart of a champion, man. And this is the fight to cement his legacy as one of the greatest fighters of all time. If Usman could win this fight, he will definitely go down as one of the best UFC fighters in history. This is another career-defining fight for him. And you look at how these guys match up. I mean, if Chimaev could just take down Kamaru Usman, out-wrestle him, and dominate him on the mat, submit him in the first round, he'll be the first person to ever do that, and it'll be extremely, extremely impressive. I mean, we're talking about a national champion wrestler, even if it was Division II in America, and I think a lot of people, they don't give that respect to the U.S. wrestlers, man. You didn't see, like, all these Dagestani guys where they're crushing all these fighters. They never fought like national champion wrestlers, the Habibs, the Islams. And the few times we've seen those type of matchups, like in Bellator, who was it? I can't remember who this guy. Rafael Stotts fought Magomedov, and Stotts beat him. And we've had another couple matchups like that where I think U.S. wrestling gets underestimated in these matchups, and I think that this is going to be another one of those kind of copies to see or fights to see if whose wrestling is better. I mean, is Chimaev going to be able to go out there, dominate Usman, and submit him, where we've really only seen Usman taken down a couple times? I mean, I'll give Colby the takedown, even though the UFC won't. And then he got taken down by Edwards kind of by surprise. But if Usman can't go out there and get him out of there quick or take him down at will, and it stays on the feet, I don't get how you could line Usman that big of an underdog. I mean, in the striking, I think it's pretty close. I mean, Usman, I don't think he's going to get knocked out, man. I see a lot of people saying he has a bad chin or he's going to get KO'd, but the guy got KO'd by a head kick that could, like, knock out a freaking gorilla, and that's the only time he's ever been knocked out in his whole career or dropped in the UFC. So I think it's a little overblown, his chin. He has gotten hurt in certain fights, but when you're fighting the best guys in the world, that's going to happen. I mean, we saw Chimaev get hurt by Burns as well, but you know, I think that Chimaev has good straight punches. He has the nice jab. But this fight, he's facing another guy that has a long reach too, that has a really good jab. And defensively, I think is a little sharper than Chimaev, even though he's a little bit maybe more war-torn. I don't think he can go out there and get in a war with Chimaev or, you know, want to try to sit in the pocket and bang with him. But if he fights smart, I think he has the more punching power. I mean, I think it's evident from that Gilbert Burns fight that when Chimaev landed clean on Burns, he was able to take the shots, come back, and when Usman landed clean on Burns, he dropped him and then eventually knocked him out. So if this doesn't end up being a wrestling match, I don't see why Usman can't have a lot of success on the feet. And I just see this as like a 50-50 toss-up fight, man. I don't understand how people go from having Usman, the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, to all of a sudden he's a almost 3-1 underdog in this fight. So just based off value alone, the line alone, and me respecting the resume that Usman has had, thinking this is a tough matchup with the wrestling, with the cardio. We've only seen Chimaev in one hard fight, and it was a war. It was a fight that Gilbert Burns could have won. And Usman isn't going to get tired like Burns got tired in that fight too, or let Chimaev have these moments where he's wilting him against a cage, or it's like these bad optic moments. I think Usman's a smarter fighter than that. So, man, I feel like this is a close fight, and I don't know. I hear a lot of people this week saying, like, Usman's the value side, I'm picking Chimaev. Usman's the value side, I'm picking Chimaev. I mean, come on, man. You know, put your balls on the table. So I'm going to pick Usman to get the win in this one. I'll say he wins via decision, and go with Kamaru Usman, man, the former champ.